Well, hey there. How you doing, everybody? Dave Fennoy here. Welcome to another episode of Ask Dave Fennoy Anything. I don't know about you. Generally, I don't start off with this, but I'm going to start off a little bit with politics. As I was saying, I don't know about you. For quite a few weeks now, I have just been depressed with the political situation in the United States. I voted for Joe Biden, support Joe Biden. I've known of his great works and constant message throughout his 50 years of being in the Senate, vice president, and president. But I, like a lot of Americans, felt like, Joe, it's time to let it go. And I know the only reason he wasn't going to let it go was because of the danger of another presidency by Donald Trump. What we were going to lose, what the Heritage Foundation has planned for us as a nation if Donald Trump were to get into power, and in fact what Donald Trump has planned. We might never have another election. But I just watched the president's speech, and it was not only masterful, but you got to understand this man's heart, how much he loves this country. And I am buoyed, inflated, exhilarated with the response to Kamala becoming the nominee. $100 million in a day raised by people like you and me. I'm going to leave it alone after that. I have hope again, and I look forward to welcoming our first Black/Asian female president, and America getting back on track, or I should say continuing on track of including everybody, of working for not for the very rich, but for everybody. We'll see where it goes. Anyway, enough of that. Thank you for joining me. When it's just me, I always have a chance to say hello to some people, and I want to take that opportunity right now. Stacy, the Walking Dead game fan, who says, "Hi Dave, how you doing? Hope you're doing well, my friend." I am doing well, Stacy. And you know, people like you who always pop by, other fans of mine who maybe don't show up here, but the letters that I get, the emails I get, the notices, the messages I get from various places on the internet that let me know how my work has affected them. I tell you, there's nothing better. It's interesting. I have a sister who is a doctor, and I always felt like, oh, I'm having fun. She's actually doing the important work. But those of you who are voice actors, when you're doing cartoons, when you're doing video games, when you are a storyteller, you won't know how much you do means to people, how important what you do is to people, until you're out there in the public and they're coming up to you and letting you know. You will have no idea how you're touching people you've never seen before. With that, I also want to just point out, I'm going to be at a con. Haven't been at a con in a while. Used to go to Comic-Con and Dragon Con, a lot of other cons quite a bit before the pandemic. Kind of slowed down afterwards. But I'm going to be this weekend up in Medford, Oregon for Metal Art Con. And it's going to be a good time. If you're up in that area, I hope you will stop by and say hi. And what else did I want? I have also, let me push the right button here. There we go. Have been a member of Cameo for a while. Don't talk about it much. But just to let fans know who want a little video from me, birthday messages, uplifting messages, saying hello to a friend, hoping somebody gets better, congratulating them on an anniversary or a wedding or whatever. You can go to cameo.com and you just type in my name, and we can have that happen for you. Let's say hello to some other people who are stopping by. Mr. Mike Cunningham. How you doing, Mike? From time to time I'm seeing the good things that you're doing, the book jobs you're booking. Congratulations, my friend. Mr. Terry Briscoe. I was talking to Jim Frank earlier today, and your name came up, Terry, and good work. And you got a lot of people out there digging what you do, and including yours truly. Michael Glover. A blue wave is a-coming. About time. Thank you. We're talking politically there, but a health wave is what I'm hoping is coming your way. I know you have been ill. You've been on the mend. I saw the picture. You've lost all the weight. Looking good, man. Looking good. Just keep on stepping on. Let's see. Sandra Dyson, yes, Dave, we can do it for everyone. So true, so true, so true, so true. Another thing that comes up for me, I see what the Republicans have been doing. And, we're in a different age of Republicans now. It used to be we weren't so far apart, even though disagreements, but at least we're all wanted democracy, or so it seemed. When Kamala when she was announced as the candidate, the first thing out of this age's Republicans' mouths was, she's a diversity hire. She's not really qualified. She was a prosecutor, a senator, a vice president, and just because a person is of color or a woman doesn't mean they are not qualified. We have lived in a country that for many, many years, no matter how qualified you were as a woman, as a black person, or people of other color, you weren't going to get an opportunity. The diversity hire was yet another white man. That has changed. That has changed, and it needs to continue to change. We want the best people doing these jobs, no matter who they are, how old they are, what color they are, what religion they are, who they love, whether they started off as a man and became a woman or vice versa. Those are the things about a person's lives that only should matter to that person's life, maybe their family, but certainly not the rest of us as a society. All right. Jessica G. Trinidad, happy Wednesday, Dave, and happy Wednesday to you. Good to see you here. And let's see, Lyle McCarty, hi, Dave, happy Wednesday. And to you, Troy Allen, always happy to pop by and see how you're doing and catch these, my friend. And Troy, it's been a while since we have talked. He said, what are you saying here? The rest of it. Stories are deeply human and beautiful and do literally save lives. Yes, they do. Troy, very fine voiceover talent, loves doing video games, and I know you, if you're not already working on a bunch of stuff, you're going to be soon, my friend. Fish Stick. Did your mama name you Fish Stick? Anyway, can I get a hi? Well, let me think about it. Okay, hi. And let's see. Fears. Hey, I know you get this a lot, but I'm a big fan of the Walking Dead game, and my fave oat of all time, especially because of your role as Lee, and I would like to thank you for it. And I'd like to thank you for that. I never get tired of knowing that playing that role touched people's hearts and minds. It's a beautiful thing. L.C. Brodus, hey Dave, and amen. Also, hope you and Mo had a terrific anniversary. We did. Let's see. Kathy Patrick, how you doing, Kathy? Hope you and your husband are well. Neomorphic 806, how did it feel when Rumbleverse shut down? Oh, man. You know, I was really surprised and disappointed. It was such a fun game. I still don't know why they shut it down. Now, for those of you who don't know, Rumbleverse was a very funny battle royale game. And I played the announcer on Rumble. Oh, that one's gotta hurt. And we sold a lot of Squat's chicken. Remember, when you're fighting in the fight, you've gotta have nourishment. Get Squat's chicken. Very funny character, very funny game, fun, old cartoony type violence, and for some reason, although it was very popular, it went away. All right, Kim Wheeler. Hello, Mr. Fennoy. Hope you are well. Can you recommend a VO coach? I'm just getting started. Well, you know, one, I'll recommend myself, but I'm going to say that with a caveat. What is it you're interested in doing in voiceover? There are so many avenues to go down now. You might want to just do commercials. You might want to do narration and one of the many forms of narration there are. You might want to do TV promos. You might want to do cartoons and or video games. So many avenues. Audiobooks, which you've heard me say often. I've done 3, hope to never do a 4th. And yet I'm in the midst of doing a 4th because of a friend of mine that I used to work with doing promos asked me, and I said yes. And it's going along well, but slow. And I understand I'm not a marathon reader. I'm a sprinter. But I'm going to get it done, and it's going to be good. Let me pop in here with something else kind of personal to me. My wife and I, for a number of years, have had a nonprofit called the Backyard Jazz Foundation. When the pandemic came, we had to shut down our main source of raising funds, which was concerts in our backyard. Well, we're back, baby. So as the flyer says, Backyard Jazz Foundation is proud to announce Backyard Jazz is back. And our first concert will be with the group that we usually would end the season with. And since we're just getting to it and we're actually getting to the end of the season, we're ending with a celebration, Biscuits and Gravy. You cannot help but love this band. All your favorite old school R&B, they play it all. They play it all from the 70s on through. Now the price, $65. You can pay more if you want to. It is a charity after all. But that includes everything. You don't have to come out of your pocket for another thing, the music, the food, the drinks. You show up at 2 o'clock, mingling and mimosas, we call it, for an hour. And then an hour-long set that'll have you on your feet, tapping your toes and shaking your groove thing. Then we feed you. And from 4 to 5 o'clock, we get our second and last set. And 6 o'clock, thank you, goodbye. And all the proceeds benefit inner city music programs. So just want to let you know, Backyard Jazz is back. You can visit backyardjazz.org. That's backyardjazz.org. Tickets are available right now. Okay, back to a few hellos before I start talking about what I wanted to talk about. I'll get rid of the cameo thing there. Bernard, one of the best voices in the world. Evening, Dave. How are you, Sensei? I am fine. And Mr. Briscoe, once again, I am battling COVID right now, and it's killing my win. What do you do to maintain your vocal health? Well, ask Dave Fennoy anything. Let's ask. Well, one of the things I do is when I have a cold, I try to shut up. Anything that's in my throat, that's bothering my throat, you want to still keep it hydrated. So it's a good time for tea warm liquids, lemon, honey, being quiet. One of the worst things you can do when you have a cold, when your throat is hacked, is continue to talk. Certainly no shouting, and definitely no whispering. Whispering is very hard on your throat. So when you've got a laryngitis, when you've got a cold, when you've got a sore throat, shut up. Just be quiet. If you have to go so far as to pull out a notepad and write, just be quiet. You can do a lot more damage to your throat when it's already damaged. So stay quiet, stay hydrated, and get healthy. Let's see. Oh, Fear, please come to Toronto Fan Expo. I would love to. You know, you have to be invited. So tell the people there to, invite me. Hey, get Dave Fennoy. Let's see. Can you do one line as Lee for me? Clementine, keep your hair short. Don't trust anybody. You can do it. I know you can. Was that okay? Furby Flash. Do you remember Mixels? Oh, by any chance. Mixels, of course. I've been into it for almost 2 years now. You did a great job as Globert. I actually got to sing in that. I'm not going to try to sing any of the Globert parts now, but Mixels, if you can still find it someplace, man, what a fun cartoon it was. Sorry to see it go. I'm still waiting. I've been in a bunch of cartoons, more video games, of course, but I'm still waiting for that cartoon that's like The Simpsons that just goes on and on and on and on. I remember when they had to take a pay cut from $8 million a year to $6 million a year. There are a few others that are the gold standard in what you want to have happen in your animation career. I've done well, but I haven't done that well. Mike Cunningham again. Damn, looks like a good place and time to drink some scotch. You know, you might think alcohol is good for you when you have a sore throat. It's actually not. I don't think having a drink is going to do that much damage. If you're trying to sleep, it might help. But one of the things alcohol does is dry you out. So I'm going to suggest leaving that alone. Before I jump in with any more, I'm going to talk a little bit about what I said my subject was going to be, was how can you be honest? How can you tell the truth when you're not telling the truth? And what I'm talking about is our job as voice actors is one of the big ones is to get people to buy things that they don't know about, don't need, and perhaps that we don't use or even approve of. To get people to watch television shows and movies that maybe we wouldn't watch, that maybe we have some issue with. But in the business of entertainment, in the business of commerce, we are an important cog. So often, say, I don't eat at McDonald's, but I've done a lot of McDonald's commercials. There are other products that I do. I do Lexus commercials every month, but I have a Lexus and have driven Lexuses for years. I've also added a Tesla to that, but for me to sell a Lexus is not a problem. I am not betraying myself in any way. Sometimes what we have to do is have that conversation with ourselves about that product. Now, if you come out of radio, one of the things you do is not feel about, oh, they've handed me the copy, and I'm just going to put a song on and a little bit of a smile, and that's going to sell this product. Well, we're in a society now where nobody believes that. I still do that, playing characters in cartoons and video games, but you know it's a character. And it's silly, what the character is doing. You don't want to be that person that is silly with commercials. Hey, buy this car. That's not what we as a society believe anymore. We want to hear from somebody that we trust, that we have the sense that they are a human being, that they are honest with us, and being honest with themselves. So sometimes when you come across that product, when you come across those words that would never come out of your mouth, you have to do two things. One, familiarize yourself with the words quite a bit so you don't have to stumble through them. And two, have the conversation with yourself to allow yourself to be okay with selling that product that perhaps you really don't know much about, or you don't like, or that, it doesn't matter to you one way or another. So many products on the market now, don't use, not going to use, but you have to talk about them as if you are going to use them. So have a conversation with yourself. If it's a product you don't like, give yourself permission to sell that product, because this is your job, because this is what you do. And it's an important part of the economy. Now, we all have a line we won't cross. There are certain products that I have turned down. I know we're in the political season. Years and years ago, when George Bush Sr. was running for president, I was asked to be the black voice of the George Bush campaign. I turned it down. It would have been a lot of money. I just couldn't do it. It would not be true to myself. Despite the fact that every day we are doing commercials for products that we don't use, we don't know them, we might not even like them, but they don't cross that line for us. Another thing we tend to do that takes us away from the believability is we're talking at this level. I'm just talking to you now. And suddenly we get that copy in front of us, and now we're hyped up. Who are you in this commercial? Who are you actually talking to? What's that relationship? How far away are they from you? A lot of this, because I promise you, I came out of radio. I was one of those hype guys. And if you want to get this, get it now. And it's going to be this, and it's going to be great, and you're going to love it. Without thought, because that's what we did. But when you're doing it without thought, you're going to lose that connection. Know not only who that person you're talking to is. Are you father talking to a daughter? Are you a young guy talking to an older guy? Are you a woman talking to women? Who is it you're talking to? Have a sense of that person and your relationship with them, how you feel about them. At my age, I could be talking to a younger guy like I think he's not quite that bright. And just my taking on the attitude of, dude, you don't understand I'm there. I'm there. I don't have to put on a voice. I don't have to change anything. I just have to understand it. Young man, you just don't understand. Or perhaps it's somebody that I hold in high esteem. Mr. Johnson, I was hoping that maybe we could talk about, and you notice my eyes are looking up? Simulating looking up to a person. What's the relationship you have with that person? When you're talking to a friend and you're telling them about something that you really enjoy, what's the level of your voice? How enthusiastic are you? And there are going to be some people that are more enthusiastic than others. We all know some people that are kind of like this all the time, that, well, I'm not really that enthusiastic. Oh, man, that's really great, man. If that's you, be you. Because I promise you, the thing that is unique about you is your secret weapon. It's your magic sauce. It's the thing that is going to put money in your pocket because you are unique and not like everybody else. We can learn a lot from listening to a Morgan Freeman or any of the other great voices out there, great voice actors that have a particular style, a way of phrasing. Much like a musician, all the great musicians learn from listening and imitating their favorite musicians. But at some point, you got to let the you come through. So learn, follow. So does Alexa ever just start talking to you? Stop. Learn from the people who came before you, but find your own voice. One of the things I often tell people is to record yourself in your natural habitat. What do you sound like when you're just being yourself? I'm going to suggest with our iPhones and lesser phones that we can be on the phone, we can be talking to our significant other, we can be hanging with the boys or the girls. Turn on that recorder and record yourself in your natural habitat. Let it go for a while until you kind of forget that it's there. What do you sound like when you're just being you? Bring that to the table. Bring that truth to the table. When you've got that product that you're talking about that maybe you don't know that much about. Oh, and because of that, thank God for the internet. How many times have you gotten that audition and it was for product ABC and you hadn't heard of product ABC? You had no idea what product ABC was because the ABC told you little to nothing about it. Look it up. Find out what that product is. Who's that product aimed at? What age group? What demographic? And talk to that age group from where you are. But once again, listen to yourself in your natural habitat and try to find your own sense of rhythm so that you're saying things the way you would ordinarily say them. All right. Let's pop in. And Dave, now I know about your nonprofit, what it serves. Love you, Vim. Oh, thank you, Lyle. Thank you. Thank you very much. Stacy. Yes, love it. Thanks, Dave. That one really gets me. Yeah, I know. Going back to the Walking Dead game. From what I was saying. Hi, Dave. Glad to hear you are hopeful again. Yeah, it was a little rough there for a minute. I think those of us who are Democrats, progressives, and suddenly after the debate, we were like, what? What's going on? What are we going to do? But there's hope again. Rob Cowell, I just completed my first national VO campaign, 2 30-second commercials for Penn State University. I want to self-promote and share the spot socially. Will I run into copyright issues? How would I get word out without causing any issues? If you've done the work and those commercials are public, yes, you can play them online and pat yourself on the back and say, hey, I just did this work, really proud of it, and I promise you the voiceover community will congratulate you and be happy for you. Now, be careful of showing off all your work or too much work. At some point, it can feel like, oh, you're just showing off. Okay. Oh, yeah, you're still working again. Another. Don't post too much of your success. Post some of your success, but not too much of your success. And also, be that person genuinely happy for your fellow voice actor when they book something. I've always felt if somebody I know is booking something great, I know them, I'm close to it. Oh, my turn's next. Mine is coming. There's enough for everybody. Um, One of the things I like best about this business is we support ourselves, support each other, I should say. So yeah, you can show that off online. The thing I would do, get in touch with your agent and or the client and ask for permission. Um, and at the end of sessions, I would even say, "Hey, let me get a copy of this. Once it has started to run, I'd love to, share it with my audience or put it on my website, that kind of thing." And 99% of the time, they're going to say, "Okay." Now, the caveat is find out when you can start showing it. If it's running now, you can probably play it now. I know for video games and cartoons, they're very secretive, especially video games. You are either signing an NDA, or when you got the audition, it said opening this email says that you agree to the non-disclosure agreement. And they're very serious about that. People have lost jobs, have been blackballed for a little while because they did not pay attention to that NDA. Sometimes when you show up at a studio, they want to lock up your phone before you can go in the booth because somebody, "Oh, I'm going to take some selfies of myself in the booth," which is fine. But make sure you're not taking a picture of the screen that has the project and the copy on it. We got to be careful. All right, let's see. Julie Ayotte. Ask the people you did it for, can they share it? Boom, there you go. Another thing I love about this audience, because not only will you ask questions, but you'll answer some of the questions that I get. Furby Flash, and can you maybe do Globert speaking lines if that's not too much trouble? You know what? I don't remember Globert's lines now. You're probably going to remind me. Can you maybe, that was the line you just sent me. You know what? I can't go to the wiki page now. I see that you wrote that. Maybe next time I'll pull up some Globert stuff. But I promise you I'm not going to sing the song. Rob Kyle, that's awesome. Congratulations. There we go. That's how we do it. We congratulate our fellow voice actors for the work they're doing. Damn right about celebrating others' wins. Every time a friend has a win, I feel like I won too. We need that kind of support ourselves. Why not give it in kind? Fantastic. Absolutely. I'll tell you a story about the best of us all, the guy who made the most money, Don LaFontaine. Back in the heyday, we don't hear many voices on trailers now, but we used to hear them on trailers all the time, and most of the time it was him. Don went to work in a limousine for many, many years. Not because he was so highfalutin that he just had to have that limousine. It would have been impossible for him to get to the studios, find a parking space, go in, have his nerves right, and then get from where he had to go to where he had to go. This way, his driver could pull up, let him off at CBS, pull up, let him off at NBC, pull up and let him off at the trailer house, pull up to, because he was doing gig after gig after gig after gig. The guy was making $30,000, $40,000 a day. But he was the best of us. He was the kindest person. People came to town, myself included, that he gave great advice to. I never got to go on the limo ride, but a number of people who came to town to take the kind of work he was doing, he took them in his limo to gigs, brought them into the booth with him while he was working to show them what he did. He and I were great friends. He was very supportive. And when you were around him, you felt like you were probably one of his best friends. I still feel like that, even though I know he had better friends than me, people he spent more time with. But when we were together, man, Just wonderful. Uh, I still hold Don LaFontaine as someone not only that I look up to, that I try to emulate, that I want to be as supportive, just like he was, with everybody knocking on these voiceover doors. Matthew Farage. Hello, Dave. Always enjoy hearing your knowledge. I am not computer savvy. Kind of ruined it for me. You know what, Matthew, you can learn. Computers these days are kind of like cars. You don't have to know how the engine works. You don't necessarily have to change the tires. Might have to learn how to change the oil. Yeah, that's a metaphor. But you can learn what you need to learn with a computer to do this business. I promise you. I don't consider myself particularly computer savvy, but I've learned to do the things I need to do to make this work. You need to learn how to use email. You need to learn how to send email and send files. You need to learn how to record. You need a decent microphone, a great interface, recording software, connection to your agent or wherever you're getting work from, the ability to push record, push stop, enough editing ability to edit out your mistakes, and pretty much editing these days is like using Word. Let me erase that, copy that, move that over here, move that over here. It's not that difficult. You can learn the things you need to learn, and you have other people out there that can help you in those areas that maybe you're not working in every day. So don't sell yourself short on that. Moist over. Love that. Speaking of NDA, were you following the Helena Taylor situation when it was unfolding, Bayonetta 3? Yeah, a little bit. I don't remember all the details of it. It's been a few years here. By the way, I play Rodan on Bayonetta, which was a game that also became a movie. It was not that good. Bayonetta was fine. How she was treated and replaced. Featherfly, how do you get into voice acting? That is the million-dollar question. One, if you're interested in doing voice acting, one of the things I would do is, well, what you're doing now, you're here on a platform that answers questions about it. I would start looking for a good coach and good classes. And I would start with classes. And actually, let me back up a minute. Before classes, I would start with just investigating this business. What kinds of jobs are there? What kind of information do you need to know? What kind of equipment are you going to need? What's the financial what's required financially for you to start getting into it? Listen to a lot of things like this. There are a lot of other voice actors and voice coaches and agents and casting directors that have a lot of free information. Get as much free information as you can, and then find a class that's good for you. Probably a class that covers voiceover in a general way, as opposed to jumping in right at the start in animation or video games, although I'm not going to say that's wrong to do. But you might want to get a class that's more of an overview of voiceover. And I say a class before an individual study. That class will help you in a lot of ways. One, you'll get an understanding of where you are compared to your fellow students. Are you somebody that, wow, I'm really killing this. I'm better than all these people. Or, no, I guess I can hang with these people. Or, gee, I got a long way to go. Finding out where you are can be sobering, but you need to know that. So you kind of get a sense of where you are now. and what you have to do to get where you want to go. After you've taken some classes, one of the other things about taking a class, sometimes when you're on the line and you're getting the instruction, oh, do this, do that, do the other, and you're kind of eyes in the headlights and, emotionally, I'm a little nervous and, gee, I really wanted to be good and those people are looking at me and it can be a little nerve-wracking. But if you can watch someone else as they're going through that, hearing what the instructor is telling them, what's working, what's not working, you can learn some things without being on the line that'll help you along the way. So take classes first before you start taking individual coaching. You'll begin to learn the phraseology. What do they mean when they say throw it away? There's a lot of jargon that we use that after a while you just understand, but you might not understand first. So, and realize it's going to take you some time. Don't do things before you're ready. Don't do the demo before you're ready. Now, once you do that, when you're demo ready, you're not as good as you're going to be, but you're ready to jump into the water and take a swim. But don't jump into the water and take that demo swim before you're ready, okay? All right. LC, Rob Kyle, congrats. So good to hear humans booking versus AI. No kidding. The best is yet to come. I'm amazed at how much AI I hear, especially TikTok, when you're scrolling through those little videos, and you can always tell. You can always tell. Julie Ayotte. Not sure if I mentioned it before, but are you the voice of G on the Kelly Clarkson show when she plays her games? No. That'd be nice. I hear all the time, though, that I have some sound-alikes. Larry Davis. Haven't talked to you in a while, my friend. Larry Davis is one of the most talented guys in town. And be careful talking to him because he will imitate your voice. Hope you're doing well, my friend. Yeah, I love the Don stories. I know there's a whole new generation that it's just a name from the past, but for some of us who were there, it's an inspiration. That's the one I just had. Oh, ha! Terry Briscoe. Love the Fennoy sign, by the way. Yeah, me too. Me too. Had that made. Okay. Furby Flash again. Oh, I wasn't saying anything about the song. I just meant maybe next time you could just say anything as Globert. I'll try to find if I can do some Globert. I don't remember his lines now. Think something about don't pull the plug. And wow. Well, that just about wraps up all the. If anybody has any more questions, pop them in there because there we go. J. Horace Black. Hi, Dave. Great to see you. Could you speak to the VO Africa conference? How does it compare to VO Atlanta and other conferences? Well, it's a good conference. They have a way to go before they're going to hit the quality of That's Voiceover or VO Atlanta. And it's a whole different focus. We're talking about here in the United States, we have a big, deep, thriving industry in voiceover that supports a lot of people. And the pay, it's not as good as it once was. But people are still making a living. There's more work in it now than ever before. The voiceover industry in Africa is young. It has a lot of growth. The pay opportunities aren't there. The unions aren't there. So it has a long way to go. Africa, in so many ways, has been kept from being a part of the world market in developing products. Africa has been raped for its natural resources without being allowed to create product to sell on the market. And I'm going to say that same thing has kind of happened with the voiceover industry there. It's going to grow. It's going to change. We have African leaders now who are telling the former colonial powers, look, we're going to take our money out of your banks. We're not, you don't have any gold except ours. You don't have any of these natural resources except ours. We are going to start taking control of those things so that we prosper as well. The relationship with the rest of the world in Africa has been one of crime against a continent for hundreds of years. African leaders who have stood up and said, nope, we're not doing that. We're not going to let you just rob us of our labor, of our people, first of all, of our labor, of our resources, and leave us nothing. I don't know how many Americans know the history of Africa. It's one of the reasons the Republican Party wants to keep history under wraps, because it's not all pleasant. It's not all good. Just looking at Belgium and Leopold, the so-called Great, back in the 1800s, late 1800s, he was in charge of, he owned the Congo. And they had chocolate and rubber and other goods, other raw materials. And to make sure that he got those materials, he sent in his armies, and over the years he was there, murdered upwards of 10 million people. Some say higher. There was a time he would, if you weren't working enough, fast enough, hard enough, they'd cut off your hand. I'm not sure if you still can, but there was a time you could go to Belgium and you would see hands, chocolate hands. They were a symbol of those people's hands having been chopped off. The wealth of Europe and much of the United States was robbed from Africa. That is changing now. That is changing now. All right, Mike Cunningham, question, what's your favorite vocal exercise before going into an intense video game session? One, I hydrate, and I do some mouth exercises. Get things kind of loosened up here. And one of the things I find that helps once your voice has done some work and it's getting a little tired is to yawn. Force a yawn. It kind of realigns some of your vocal cords. And if you're doing very, very vocally stressful work, fortunately, it's not all vocally stressful. But if you're doing very vocally stressful work, take more breaks. I've done some games where they'll push you for 20 minutes and then give you a 10-minute break. It's amazing how much that helps your voice. You can do a lot of shouting, things that are damaging, if you don't do them for too long. And 10 minutes as a break, it's amazing. If you do go overboard, go home and shut up. J. Horace Black, yes, silicon, uranium, etc. Am I there? We could not, our cell phones, it wouldn't work without the minerals being dug by hand, often by children, out of the ground in the Congo. By the same token, as I talk about the crimes against Africa, our picture of Africa seems to be natives and I use that word on purpose as opposed to people because it gets the idea of the belittling. We have an idea of natives naked in the jungle, women walking with water on their heads, their breast out, children playing in the mud, blah, 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 blah. There are major cities in Africa, and I'm not just talking about South Africa, which, had apartheid for so long. You go to Ghana, you go to Nigeria, all over Africa, very urbanized, very modern, juxtaposed with a bit of what I was just talking about. Things are changing. Need to change faster, but they are changing. All right. Bernard, what do you think of classes by Joe Zija and Dave DeWeese? And politically, the choice isn't between Harris and Trump. It's between democracy and fascism. We must fight fascism not because we are certain of victory. We fight fascism because they are fascists and we must win. So true, so true, so true. I was very disappointed in Biden's performance, but I was going to vote for Biden, and I was going to insist that other people vote for Biden as well. One, because I know what his history is. I know what he has done. I know what a fine human being he is. And he's always been on the right side of things. But also because the people he has surrounded himself with, they were not going to let him dodder off. I'm glad he has stepped down. I think it was the right thing to do. And I think we are all, those of us who are Democrats and politically to the left, progressives, we are ecstatic that Kamala is there. All right. Lyle McCarthy, is it okay to ask a VO director for a break if you're fatigued or your voice is wanting? Absolutely. As a matter of fact, it's exactly what you should do. You know, I suggest, and I'm guilty of this, of trying to be a voiceover hero. A number of years ago, I had a session for Dota 2. I don't know if those of you who are gamers might know what Dota 2 is. I was playing 6 characters. They had flown me up to Seattle to do this session. It was a 2-day session, and it was like, 8 hours a day. Maybe not 8. Had a lunch break. And it was very, very vocally stressful. But this was at a time when nobody was thinking about damage to your voice. We're trying to get it done. You're excited to do the work as the voice actor, and you want to show them what you can do. And I had a lot of damage to my voice from that session because I pushed through. Also, similar time, I was doing a Lucasfilm game, a pod racer game. The whole thing was in Huttese. The whole thing was shouted. It was a 5-hour session. First, just my regular voice in Huttese, then with a Jamaican accent, man, in Huttese, then a homeboy accent in Huttese, and all shouted. And went home the next day. I didn't have a voice. A couple days after that, I was supposed to be doing a booth announce for an ESPN award show. I couldn't talk. Had to cancel. That producer has never hired me again. It wasn't my fault. But in his eyes, I was somebody you couldn't count on because at the last minute, I let him down. He wasn't there in this session. He didn't know what I went through. All he knew was he was trying to get this show on, and one of the cogs in this machine suddenly has to be replaced. We're living in a different time now. It's okay to say, hey, my voice is a little tired. give me 5 minutes. Give me 10 minutes. Let me get some tea. Let me get some water. Let me take a break. Yeah, that's just fine. That's just fine. All right. Well, you know what? I think it's 6:55. I know we usually go to 7. If there's not another good question, I'm just going to go over a couple of things again. Biscuits and Gravy, playing at Backyard Jazz September 1st. It's going to be a lot of fun. Would love to see any of you there. Proceeds benefit the Watts Willowbrook Youth Symphony is the music program we're working with right now. It's a great time for an even greater cause. $65 a head gets you in. You get the music, you get the food, you get the drinks, you get the dance, you get to pop your fingers. So just letting you know. And tickets at backyardjazz.org. Backyardjazz.org. If you're going to be up Oregon way for some reason this weekend, I'll be in Meadowlark. No, I didn't know where it was either before I found it on the map in Meadowlark. And yes, there are planes that fly directly from LAX to Medford, Oregon. So it's a small town, but it's not that small. Those of us that live in Los Angeles were like, Medford? Anyway. But all that said, thank you again for dropping by and saying hi. Looking forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Don't forget all the Ask Dave Fennoy Anythings live on my YouTube channel, Dave Fennoy Voiceover Training. If you are interested in coaching with me, davefennoy.com. You can follow me at Dave Fennoy VO. And I will see you next time. And in the meantime, of course, book something.